So here we have my good friend Vitruvius, who is made out of bronze, which is very often used for sculptures on the outside. So in terms of working with metal and metal profiles, we have different basic materials, like what has been used for the load-bearing structure of this space are hot rolled profiles here. These must be IPE industrial profile, European. We have other qualities, like for example sheet metal that I can fold in a form due to the special quality of metal to have this plastic area where it can be put in a new form and then doesn't go back as would be for elastic deformation to its initial form. So I have all types of profiles here, roof tile out of metal. It can be cast, as can be seen in this node here. Here, other nodes. You can custom fabricate this type of node as well. This is rarely done. Maybe it will increase in the future with additive manufacturing technology, where powder could be melted by a laser and then form pieces like these one-to-one in additive manufacturing techniques. Steel has a higher melting point than aluminum, and aluminum becomes soft at around 400 degrees, and then it can be extruded through a matrix, and so we have very sharp angled forms that become possible. So much more so than would be the case for steel profiles. Steel profiles, as can be seen in this profile here, where the thickness of the sheet metal can still be seen at the final profile, while in aluminum it is not one piece of sheet metal but rather a profile. In the earlier days you had steel window profiles that were not made out of sheet metal as well. And this can be seen in this case here, very strongly standardized profiles, and here the glass holding strip is out of aluminum. Most of the connectors, like screws or bolts, are made out of metal as well. In the early days of wood construction you had wooden nails as well, but they have been replaced very quickly by metal ones. And in concrete construction you have here the connectors between the two pieces of formwork, which are steel screws. Rebars are made out of steel. So you have many composite constructions as well that are based on metal materials. Some metal finishes, as we said before, the sheet metal can be out of steel. Here it's zinc coated. Here's another plate. By the weight, I would say this could be stainless. Stainless is a special quality of steel, which is less heat transmittent, and it doesn't rust, so that's an advantage. It exists in many different surface treatments, like here is rough quality where you don't see grease as much as on other metal surfaces. Aluminum can be anodized, it can be polished as well, so it looks very shiny. Very soft and very heavy metal is lead. lead contaminated water is toxic as well, so pay attention to that. Normally you won't use it anymore in construction. Copper is a quality that is used quite often for facades in different qualities. This is pre-patinated copper as to create the patina look for the copper surfaces. And what else do we have? Well, this is anti-sliding material. So this can be done easily in metal surfaces. And what else do we have here? A wood structure on a metal plate. I would say this is kitsch. Don't you agree? So this sheet metal is zinc coated, and the zinc fulfills two functions. First, it is a mechanical protection of the surface, and then once that coat is blessed, then there is electrochemical protection of the sheet metal as well. The metal industry is offering all types of specialties, like for example here we have a sort of fabric made out of stainless thread. Here we have a more directional fabric, which is made out of steel rods, stainless steel rods, and a sort of thread in the other direction. And this is aluminum foam. Rather particular material that we have another one that we have in our materials collection. All types of inserts, and so this is to be inserted in a concrete formwork, and afterwards you can take off the formwork, and then this rail is apparent, and you can put screws inside to screw things to the concrete wall. And all of these pieces are made out of metal as to have the possibility to screw, because metal can be very precise. Concrete, normally if you have in situ concrete, has a tolerance of several centimeters. Prefabricated pieces, several millimeters, and steel can be very precise, 1 millimeter or less. So this is the main difference between steel pieces and concrete. While you have for certain standard constructions like drywall, you have sheet metal profiles as well. So these profiles are produced in standard dimensions and are not subject to the same type of logic as the hot rolled profiles, which are much thicker, and the thickness changes over the profile. Here's another one. So behind me, a typical lightweight steel construction. You can see double U profiles as columns, double U profiles as beams, and then the corrugated metal is spanning from one of these beams to the next one. We have the facade profiles here, and they are attached to a horizontal beam that is conceived following the facade. And once again, our connector plates and the interior part of the facade of the building that is simply continuing through this glass band between the canopy and the main facade of the building. A rather nervous metal detailing here in this TUM building. You can see that here. These sheet metal plates that are provided with holes, so you can order this from catalogs that are specialized on hole drilling. You have cables here, so that's the difference to the other handrail, where rods have been used and they have been bent by the weight of students trying them out. Here, an aluminum facade so you can see clearly the aluminum profile. I will put them in shape again. Well, an aluminum plate, you have rubber gaskets here. What else do you have? A grill. This is a zinc-coated grill. You can order these from catalogs. And once again, the double T sections. Here we have angular sections bolted together. So this is a rather typical steel construction behind me. Aluminum is often used for facades because it ages without corroding too much. So here you can see the same facade from the inside. It's composed of aluminum profiles here. They have a different shape than steel profiles have. And as to support them, we have a big steel beam here with the holes cut in them. So this is a double T section, and it's fixed with these mounting plates here to the concrete wall on either side of the staircase. Three-dimensional steel structures can be made out of nodes like this. This is a Mero node, and you can screw diagonals in these threads here inside the ball. The last one is very difficult to put in. And in wood constructions, we are working very often with steel connectors like nails or nail plates like these here to create an immediate and quicker connection between wood pieces than screws or CNC profiling would provide. Metal is worked by different professions, like blacksmiths would be people who are working with massive steel products, and plumbers would work with this type of metal quality, which is a zinc sheet metal plate. So blacksmiths would prefabricate elements in the workshop and then assemble them on the construction site. And in this plumber's metal application, there would be a larger part of work executed on the construction site. Metal easily starts to rust, especially if it's unprotected steel. Here on my left-hand side, or for you the right-hand side, the steel had been protected by zinc coat and a layer of lacquer. So that's called duplex. Here these rebars right next to me, they are destined to rust because the rust increases the adhesion between the concrete and the rebars. So in this case it's even favorable. Behind me we have the scaffolding system, which is protected by a zinc layer. I've been explaining this to you before. So here this ventilation equipment is out of stainless, very shiny surface, doesn't have to be protected especially. These facade siding profiles are extruded aluminum profiles. So you can see that they age quite well, but they take a little patina and the surface starts to corrode slightly. You can see it even more here on the window sills that are folded sheet metal profiles. So another bronze sculpture by our former Professor Fritz König, and you can see that it's even taller